Oh yeah.
disagreement because, like,
Yeah.
you're religious, I'm anti-theistic, but we're both talking about religion, not having a single problem. We're actually agreeing on almost everything.
Yeah, ironically, I think we have the same belief but different perspectives on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just because we're forced to label it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
If
I
only
wanna,
politics could be that way.
I think we could, like, I wanna have this footage and then, you know, chop it up, and I think it'd be like, a news talk show or whatever.
Actually,
Where we
funny you say
get
that.
varying views.
We're actually planning on doing a podcast.
Cool.
Which, by the way, if you ever want in on this podcast, it's going to be at a bar. We don't know when or how or anything, but we want to have like.
I can Skype in or whatever. I'll be
yeah.
Like a call, you know, a call-in correspondent.
Yeah. Like I'm telling you, you'll love my buddy Steve. He's a great person to talk to about this sort of thing. So this is going to sound condescending, but it's really not. So he's a math tutor in the town of Ridgefield. Now, Ridgefield has a great education system.
Yep.
He's the one who fills in where the Ridgefield education system fails, which is barely. So he's a genius at what he does, and he actually thinks in math.
Interesting.
Like, he's a math genius. So he's a great person to talk to about this sort of stuff, because you can bring up a theory, and immediately he'll go to trying to quantify it. Even if he can't, his brain will immediately begin trying to quantify it.
I know the type. I've kind of the same tendency. I view life as a giant maximization equation. Like, that's something I tell.
Like him.
Like, when I start dating someone, that's like one of the first things I say, because it explains a lot of my behavior and whatnot.
That's actually a great opening statement when you meet somebody, because it is pretty self-descriptive.
Yeah, and like, if they don't understand, then probably shouldn't be dating me.
Yeah. Well, definitely not. That's actually why me and my girlfriend work out pretty well, because we actually think incredibly differently to the point where we'll disagree on things that we agree with. I don't know if that makes sense, but...
Yeah, it does. I've been the same way. As I was saying, my first real girlfriend was really religious. I actually tried becoming Christian for her. I used to go to church and everything. But just because of, you know, integrity, like, her family is like, you can't marry someone who's not Christian. So, like,
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, kind of. But, like, I was like, okay, so in order, if we're gonna be serious and we're gonna get married, I have to, like, convert. And part of it was like, why don't you just say you're Christian? You know, whatever. I'm like, yeah, but that defeats the purpose. There's no moral integrity in it. And, like, I feel like that's not just betraying her, but more so betraying myself.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, so that was, yeah, so I used to go to church every day, and my other friend was Muslim, and I'd go to his religious stuff, and, so for a time, I was Muslim and Christian at the same time, and still anti-theistic, which is, you know, it sounds like it's oxymoron and a paradox, and it kind of is, but if you think about it, it is actually possible.
Yeah. I don't want to say I have a problem with Islam. I don't have a problem with Muslims, but as a religion, like, I've tried going to mosque before. My problem was because I already have my intrinsical and fundamental beliefs in faith. There's certain fundamental things in Islam that are actually quite opposing to what I believe. So, like, they'll say something which is completely peaceful or completely harmless or, like, not meant in any way, and immediately I want to argue it.
Yeah, I think you can go a bit further with your statement in saying that you don't have a problem with Islam, but you have a problem with the modern interpretation of it.
Yes and no. I mean, there's certain things, I mean, like I said, I'm a literalist when it comes to faith, so, like, I do believe in God's chosen people and all that, but that's, like, a whole definition that I could get into.
Yeah.
But, there's certain stories that, okay, so here's my understanding of the Quran, and I've tried seeking answers to it. I've yet to have somebody actually be able to describe it to me in an intelligent way.
I'll put you in contact with my friend Sharif. He's, you know, helped me with all the Islam stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hell yeah.
He could probably get
But,
you the answers and have the discussion you want to have with him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. But there's certain things that, like, the way that I understand it now, you know how you have different testaments to all the different holy books? But all three books essentially follow the same Torah. They all follow the Old Testament, or the Hebrew Bible, which is, you know, Genesis and Leviticus and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Well, long story short, there's multiple points in the Quran, which, especially after the coming of Muhammad, basically look at everything that was previously written and go, okay, that's no longer right. Here's what's right now.
A retcon.
And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It puts a stop to it. Which, I've heard the same argument with Christianity, because the coming of Christ fulfilled the covenant. But even with Christianity, there's reasons as to why the covenant was fulfilled, and other areas where it's now being fulfilled. So like, even Christianity makes the logical sense. Whereas with Islam, I just can't find that logical sense.
I understand what you're talking about, and I think I even know like certain like more specific examples of what you mean. And I think like I brought them up with Sharif, my friend, and you know what, I'll go on Facebook in a minute and start a group chat.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, he and I talked about it, and it resolved a lot of those points I had, and gave me the understanding that is hard to have without being a proper follower of the religion.
Yeah.
Like Lucifer, Satan, the devil, in most aspects they're actually three different things.
Oh yeah.
But
in
Lucifer
Judaism, they're actually entirely different.
Yeah, so Lucifer is my point of interest because Lucifer
is actually a good angel.
Yep, and like the root of his name is Lucem Fere, which means light bringer, which means enlightener, which refers to knowledge. Not like Zen or whatever, but like understanding, knowledge, learning, and I'm all about that. So like a lot of my tags and my Facebook nickname is Lucem Fere. People are like, you know, the whole shock value of it. I'm like, no, it's not satanic at all. It's about my.
Run back to the base of box real quick, though.
Okay. It's about my seeking knowledge, my quest to understand and learn. And in turn, bring that to other people.
Freemason?
I've never put too much thought into it, but I don't know.
I feel like you'd enjoy it quite a bit. Because literally it's all about enlightenment. Like, literally they'll tell you, like, when you go to join, they're like, we're here for enlightenment.
Do I have as a friend on Facebook?
Yeah, Lucifer in Judaism. Well, okay, so this is my understanding of it. Again, it varies from Jew to Jew.
On Facebook, are you
Bill Teicholz. Hold on, let me send you my last name. Actually, did I already spell my last name for you?
Yeah, Teicholz, right?
Yep. It's
Okay,
just Bill Teicholz.
Your profile picture is guy with the gas mask?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, yeah. I just sent you a friend request. Let me make a group chat
Sweet.
with.
And got it. Confirmed. Lucem Fere.
Yep. So yeah, in the Quran, Lucifer refuses to love humanity more than he loves God.
Yeah.
And that's why he's kicked out.
Yep.
He doesn't say humanity is undeserving of love. He just says as God being, you know, God being omnipotent, omniscient, all that stuff, that one second, I'm making the group Facebook chat.
Sweet.
Nah, don't you dare ignore me.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to come outside and drop some gear for you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so like, he gets kicked out and punished. Like, the ultimate punishment, not because he's being mean about it, like, he's like, I'll love humanity and all that. It's just that, you know, you're God, you are, you know, you're, like, I'm not gonna love our, you know, our cousin more than I love our father.
Here are my prayers.
God just gives him the ultimate punishment for it. It's really messed up.
You'll be missing out.
And like, he's just straight up punished. Like, he's not given the chance to try and understand or anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just really spoke to me and whatnot. And I actually like Islam's theology on Lucifer more than Christian one, because the Christian one is, I think, a little bit more sullied and tainted by human interpretation.
Yeah, like the fact that they literally turned him into the devil.
Yeah,
when there is no devil.
Yeah, he goes from being kicked out for not following God's rules, or, you know, kind of essentially the same thing, but in a little bit different manner, and a little bit more conceptual. But then just wildly, alright, well, he's not an angel anymore, now he's the ultimate evil, when nothing actually says he does evil things, or, you know.
Yeah. He's actually not evil in most of the Abrahamic religions. True Christianity is not evil, Judaism is not evil, Islam is not evil.
Yeah, but the human
And
interpretation.
I hate to say Catholicism. Like,
Yeah.
Catholicism is ultimately what created modern Christianity, which is why I believe that the Catholic Church is the deceiver that was written about in Revelations.
I agree too. I love the new Pope, though. I think he's great.
Oh yeah, he's an amazing human being.
I think we need the
But I'm not
equivalent
saying
as a
the Pope's so
president
bad.
to fix our pendulum.
I would not totally agree or disagree with that.
Like, not a religious figure or whatever, but that, like, a person like that, a person who's understands the bigger picture, who is actually trying to do good, who doesn't have much of a other agenda, who's looking out for the well-being of the people he's responsible for, because that's what it is. Like, the Pope, the President, they are like a parent responsible for their nation and the well-being.
On second thought, never mind.
What I love about the new Pope is that he's taken politics out of the Catholic Church to the point where he even asked, like, he was asked something about homosexuality. I don't remember the exact question. And he says, what is it my place to judge? It is only God's, or it's only God's place to judge, or something like that.
Yeah, I love him.
So he recognizes that he's human.
Yeah, he's done a lot to stop the persecution of homosexuality and whatnot, you know?
Yeah.
And
like,
he's very accepting of them.
Religion. Religion's quick to point a finger, but the religion itself literally says don't point the finger.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
only God can do it.
Exactly. I think that's a huge thing, especially about and like America too. Like everyone, it's all about pointing the finger or whatever. Like
Yeah.
you can't be a
You
good
have to have a
Christian and
scapegoat.
judge. Which is why I love
I
all
will say
these.
though, on the reverse of it, so like I said, I am religious. I of course have my opinions about homosexuality, but I also donate thousands of dollars per year to LGBT communities.
Mhm.
Simply due to the fact that as an American, I believe it's their right. It's not my religious belief, but it's my American belief.
Yeah.
My religious belief is I don't care what they do because I'm not them and I don't have to struggle with the same stuff they do.
Yeah.
So
And that's God's
that's their relationship with God. That's
that's
not mine.
God's you know, that'd be infringing on God's territory.
Yeah.
I love
The
like
way I look at it,
On second thought,
like
never
even in
mind.
an extreme, let's say homosexuality straight up is a sin, talking on an extreme here, that's no different from the sins I commit. So I have no right to judge them for that.
yeah.
And therefore, I won't.
You looking for anything?
I love like when there's even abortion stuff. When religious people show up and start protesting it, like they're claiming to be, you know,
Awful.
great Christians and whatnot, but the fact that they're there doing that proves they're the
I
worst
sure
of the
hope we see the
Christians.
last of us cleaners now.
Yeah. If anything, the real Christian way of doing it would be to talk to the individual who wants to get an abortion, get to know them, and not trying to convince them not to do it, but at least just trying to understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, and help their understanding and broaden their perspective. And even if they decide to still go through with it, I think it's the Christian thing to do, or whatever religion. It's the good thing to do to support them. Like, okay,
Yeah.
if you're gonna get the abortion, that's
Glad you're
what
okay.
you know. That's your decision. Then let's get you the resources. Let's make
Gotta
sure
be
you have the
sure that's
proper
calling
health
your
care and
name.
whatnot. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's more important as human to human. And then when it comes to judgment, then whoever's actually supposed to be the judging power will do it. And I don't
Yep.
think getting
Well, that's the
abortion
thing.
would
We still have
automatically
free
send
will.
someone to hell.
Oh, no. Like I
Be-
said, a sin is a sin. It doesn't matter what the sin is. Like, even if homosexuality or getting an abortion is a sin, it's no different than any sin I've committed.
Mhm.
So it's not like they're more likely to go to hell than me. If hell even exists. I personally don't believe in hell, so.
I don't either. I think that's a glaring spitting in the face of the whole benevolent, omnipotent, omniscient thing.
No, it is. It definitely is. Because, as written, there's literally nothing about hell written anywhere in any of the Abrahamic religious books.
And that's the whole humans constructed it to control control other people.
Hey,
Not in the
Yeah.
conspiracy way, but like I'm sure some emperor or king someplace invented it so he could keep control over his subjects. And I bet the person who originally invented it had good in mind. He was just trying to help motivate people to be better people, but it's now become this vile
I honestly don't even think it was actively
bastardization.
invented. I personally think hell is a holdover from pagan beliefs. Like a lot of what
Yeah,
we follow in
yeah.
modern religion, even modern Christianity, is a lot of just holdovers from pagan beliefs. Like Christmas.
Yep.
Christmas. Nothing we do on Christmas actually has to deal with the birth of Christ.
Oh yeah,
Like,
and
it's all pagan.
like even Easter and all that, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's all. But that's what I mean by invented, like appropriating or modifying or adopting. Like that's what I mean by invented. The first person to do it.
I can't say that word.
Cultural
Cultural
appropriation.
appropriation.
Yeah,
on second thought, never mind.
I think
I hate
cultural
that term now
appropriation.
just because of social justice warriors.
Yes, exactly. I think that I don't think cultural appropriation is a thing. It's
I don't either.
it's a label for people to argue with. It's a tool. It's a weapon to argue with. But essentially, what people are calling cultural appropriation is actually just accepting
Cultural dominance.
other cultures.
Yeah.
Like,
It's literal cultural dominance. It's a piece of a culture that's so strong that it propagates into other cultures.
like Mohawks. Like, lots of people will say Mohawks are cultural appropriation of Native American, whatever.
Yeah.
I think, well, A, I have a Mohawk because I think it looks cool, and I think I look better with one. It's purely aesthetic. But at that, I think if someone gets a Mohawk and they do it because of, the Native American heritage, I think it's saying, look at this bit of, culture. I'm accepting it. It's, it's like eating a different nation's food or a different,
Yeah.
What's new?
eating halal or kosher
Second
food,
thought,
whatever.
never mind.
It's accepting, appreciating, acknowledging.
Got a piece here that's calling your name.
It's not appropriating, which is to take something and call it
Yeah.
your own, or to use the resources of.
Yeah. I have a friend, her name is Suki. So, Suki is a mix of German and Japanese. That's actually very important to the story.
That's awesome.
But
That's, I think, my perfect.
I call her the little Axis power because it pisses her off. But like me and her are still friends. She's a really good person and she has the best heart. As a matter of fact, she's in Africa now at the Peace Corps.
Awesome.
But she's so far left wing. Like she's one of those social justice warrior, cultural appropriation, one of those people.
Huh.
And there's actually she posted a video of a white girl who got a Native American tattoo. It was a dream catcher.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, this is cultural appropriating to the Iroquois, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, first of all, it's not Iroquois, it's Chippewa. And second of all, you don't know the race of the girl. Just because she has light skin doesn't mean she's not Chippewa. She very well may be. You just don't know. And the other thing is, and I explained that I believe it's cultural dominance and it's not actual appropriation. And she went off saying, well, people pressed, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, well, listen, if that's how you feel, I will give you my verbal and written consent to wear Hamsas or Star of Davids or whatever. I'm like, as a Jew, I'm giving you my permission to use my symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, that's different because we're talking about oppressed populations. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, it's only cultural appropriation if the population is oppressed.
Second thought, never mind.
And I'm
Oh,
like,
jeez.
wait, are you saying the Jewish population is not oppressed? She goes, no, because they're white. And I'm like,
Every
Suki,
culture is oppressed
you're
by another
German
culture.
and Japanese. I actually said to her, I was like, you're German and Japanese, and you're saying that Jewish people are not oppressed. She's like, no, I can't think of a single time. And I'm like, think about this. I'm like, are you serious right now? And she's like, oh, well, that was a long time ago. And I'm like, oh, okay, so when it's
Like,
the
that makes
Jews
it
being
better?
oppressed, it was a long time ago, but when it's the Chippewa, it wasn't a long time ago? Like, I'm really confused by your argument now.
Yeah, it's... Wow.
And she also, like, posts all this stuff about, the Japanese internment camps in the US and Canada, which were terrible, like, I'm not defending them.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to ever post something about the Holocaust, she immediately comes in and she's like, oh, well, that was almost 100 years ago. I'm like, first of all, it wasn't. Second of all, it's relevant to modern history. And third of all, you still post stuff about the Japanese internment camps, so...
Yeah, I think by just the concept of what history and learning from the history is, nothing is too old.
No,
There's a difference
agreed.
between digging up old dirt and whatnot, and that's
Yeah.
because it's petty and whatnot. But as far as African Americans still wanting reparations for slavery,
You know you want what
I
I'm
don't think.
selling.
I think every African American could be given $1 million and still not actually make up for it,
Yeah.
because it's such vast and the damage is so vast and like
Well, it's still modern.
varied and whatnot. Yeah, that who's to say that we don't have someone that's 12 billion times smarter than Stephen Hawking's? We could easily not have cured cancer because the ancestor of the person from 2000
Glad you're
BC
okay.
was oppressed, and because of that,
Yeah.
when they had a child, it died because they couldn't, you know, infant mortality reasons. So, like, it's like Star Trek with the Prime Directive, you know, you don't know what the repercussions are, so just, you can't quantify
It's
it.
almost like that whole theory thing we were talking about before.
Which one?
When we were talking about theories, like it's not a law because of semantics.
Oh,
For
yeah,
no
the
other
theory
reason.
theory.
I appreciate it.
Sharif just replied on the chat. So he lives
Oh
in
yeah, I
Jordan right
saw.
now, so he's awake when we are, or while we're playing and all that.
Unfortunately, I can't respond on my phone. However, I will shoot a message when I boot up my computer.
If you want, I can ask him right now, so he has time to think.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
What
I
like
can
what do you
read
want
what
to
he's
start with
saying
the
too.
conversation?
Let's think of a way to articulate what I said before. Now we have to play semantics.
And you don't have to be picky with your words or whatever with him. He's just like you and I are in this conversation. You
Oh,
know?
believe me, I'm not. I'm very much like I'm like Perry, where I don't give a fuck if people get offended.
Oh yeah. He isn't either. But I'm saying like he's not gonna be like, well, I can't answer that because you chose the wrong word or whatever. You know, he'll.
Yeah.
If you say something and he doesn't understand it, you can be like, no, that's not what I meant, and then like try and explain.
Yeah.
You know, he's really good with like higher level concepts and intangible ideas, stuff like that.
Yeah. My main question for him, and
Do you
while I
have
can
WhatsApp
give
actually?
specific example, what's that?
Do you have WhatsApp?
I do not. I
Oh, okay.
unfortunately can't get it because Windows phones are, you know,
Oh yeah,
old.
yeah. I forgot about what you were saying about your phone.
I have Kick, but it doesn't work. I use that for reasons. Way back in the day.
Yep.
The only reason anybody ever has Kick.
What's new? On second thought, never mind.
I'm just trying to think of a way to articulate, not to avoid offensive wording, but because it's just a difficult question to articulate.
I totally
I guess
understand.
overall, my
I consider myself a articulation file. Like I have a very huge vocabulary, and I used to like exercise it very well.
Yeah.
And it's actually like it's fun using a large vocabulary and whatnot, and having the exact word for exact meaning. You know, like instead of saying angry, saying you're infuriated. Instead of infuriated, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's like a wheel for writers. At the center, like the 5 basic emotions, and then from that, it'll say like if you're angry and you're sad, you can say that you're distraught, you know, or if you're distraught and this, then there's another word. It's really cool. I think you'd like it.
That actually is pretty cool.
You could probably like look up writing descriptive wheel.
On second thought, never mind.
Writing emotional description wheel or whatever, and it'll show up. Actually, I'll look for it right now while you're.
That'd be really cool.
While you're talking.
Oh yeah, speaking of vocabulary, so the whole word of the day thing actually was an idea from my buddy Steve, the one I was talking about before. He's big on vocabulary, and he actually looks up words like every other day and tries to use them.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked up this one word, aphasia. Which
I love that word.
I do too, but for the longest time, he legitimately believed that if you said you were suffering from aphasia, the only thing that it meant was you were suffering from a loss of words.
You looking for anything?
So there was one day he met one of my close friends who served in Iraq. He got blown up more than once. He has severe, well, not severe brain damage to the point that he's a vegetable, but like he gets nasty migraines. He suffers from the actual medical definition of aphasia.
Yep.
And there's one day we were all out at the bar, and he was in the middle of talking, and you could tell his TBI was kicking in hard.
What's new?
So he stopped talking, like he just straight up stopped talking. His eyes actually just went straight forward. I grabbed him by the shoulders, like, "Hey, bro, you okay?" He goes, yeah, I'm fine. I'm suffering from some pretty bad aphasia, so I'm gonna sit in my car for a little while. And I
Interesting.
was like, all right, man, take care. So, literally what he was doing was he was going to his car to smoke some pot and
Looking to
feel
buy
better.
something?
Yeah.
Um, but when he said that, my buddy Steve was like, oh, I didn't know people can suffer from aphasia so bad that they have to leave the conversation.
Glad
And he
you're
said it,
okay.
in jest.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy was like, are you fucking kidding me? And Steve didn't know that there was an actual medical definition of aphasia. So, after he left and he went to his car and hit his bowl a few times, I was like, hey, Steve, like, you realize he has actual medical aphasia, right? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he actually suffers from a medical, clinical definition of aphasia. He's like, what is that? I'm like, brain damage. It's when you literally can't find a word because you forget how to talk.
On second thought, never mind.
Yeah, like I forgot the category of, uh,
Hey, I can see you're looking
the category it's in, but, it's in the same category as, like, learning disabilities and, sensory disability, like dyslexia, dysnumeria, synesthesia. They're all, um, they're all in the same category, and I can't remember what it's called, but
We're all aphasiatic,
Hey!
which is actually a made-up word that is still used in medical dictionaries, apparently. Granted, Webster's also has the word selfie in the dictionary now, which I find fucking weird.
yeah, I think this whole, like, the dictionary adding, like, dumpster fire and all these new slang words is stupid, because they should just remain as, slang and whatnot, not actual dictionary words.
Yeah,
I think it's a publicity fad right now that they're doing it just to keep,
Glad you're
dictionaries and
okay.
shit relevant.
agreed. Plus, on one hand, I kind of agree with it because all words are is noises we make to communicate an idea,
Mm-hmm.
which by definition slang does, but at the same time slang is a fad. So words like selfie hopefully aren't going to be a permanent thing,
Yeah,
and there's no way to prove they're going to be permanent.
slang is in my opinion,
Hey, don't
a
walk away.
derivative, an artistic derivative of of actual speech, where speech
Yeah,
is
What's new?
a
On second thought,
patternistic
never mind.
series of sounds meant to uh, convey stuff.
yeah,
As in, like, that's more technical. The other one is more artistic.
yeah.
Um, because
Although there are
slang,
some times that slang should become dictionary, like if it holds, if it's consistent, like the word lollygagger, that
yeah,
started as a very, I mean, it even sounds it started as a old slang word that everybody knows today.
yeah, like
What you did?
when
Just
I
now?
think a word should be added to a
Amazing.
dictionary when it actually brings something new to the table. Where,
Yeah,
like, uh, dumpster fire isn't,
You know you want what
I
I'm
don't, it's not a
selling.
word. It's a word that was made to make a description of something else, of a concept, more convenient, for
yeah,
everyday speech. Like LOL, as opposed to typing out laughing out loud. It's a convenience thing. It's not bringing something new to the table. Or hot
yeah,
mess. Hot mess isn't bringing anything new to the table. It's just a new way of
We're
saying
much better
something
off without that
specific.
R&B.
yeah.
I sent you the picture in the chat of the
Sweet.
adjective wheel.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's really cool. Like, what's an example here? Okay, so like, under the happy category, right? At the center, there's surprised, happy, sad, disgusted, angry, fearful, and bad. And then at the next level, there's playful, content. Like, so happy is then subdivided into playful, content, interested, proud, accepted, powerful, peaceful, trusting, optimistic. Optimistic, for example, is then subdivided one more time to hopeful or inspired. Playful is subdivided to aroused and cheeky. Proud is subdivided to successful and confident, you know? So, like,
Ooh,
instead of
this
just
is
saying I'm
actually really
happy,
neat.
like, I feel happy, but what more specific about it? I'm happy in a proud way. Okay, well, what about being proud? I'm confident in my abilities. And that's making me happy,
Yeah.
so this
Hey.
wheel is awesome.
Hey,
Angry.
missing?
I love angry because it's very vast, so, like, there's mad under angry, and furious under mad under angry, but then there's also, you can be angry because you're humiliated, and from that, disrespected and ridiculed. Or you could be angry because you're let down. You're betrayed or resentfully let down and angry because of that. Um,
Oh, that's awesome.
you could be angry because you're critical of something. You're critical of it by being skeptical or dismissive.
What's new?
Um,
On second thought, never mind.
Significant, excluded, persecuted, nervous, or exposed.
You know you want what I'm
Like,
selling.
exposed instead of saying fearful, you know? I feel exposed is much more effective than saying I'm scared.
Or-
Yeah, so, like, that's, I love um, religious doctrine
Hey.
insinuated, which I think carries much more meaning and value than just saying,
Oh, no,
you
it
know,
definitely does.
religion has bad ideas, and that's why I don't like it.
Which also is quite true.
Your attention, please. A group of carolers will convene at 1500 hours in the main hall. All are welcome to attend.
What's new? On second thought, never mind.
Your attention.
Hey, want to do a HVT hit?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second, I'm overhauling my loadout,
Yeah, not a problem.
and I need to sell off this 10 million things I'm holding. I hate having to, like, when I'm trying to pick a new weapon, I have to disassemble all the mods, then, like, compare it and decide, and then reassemble it,
Yeah.
because the mod's affected so much I can't, like, it's not a good bearing to, like, my current gun was technically, like, 1,000 higher DPS than the gun I'm switching to, but that's because I'm going from a sniper rifle to a sharpshooter, and so, like, rate of fire isn't a factor. So I need,
Yeah.
the DPS is lower, but the damage from a single bullet is much higher.
That's one weird thing about this game, because truth be told, the algorithms in this game don't always make sense either. There's times it'll say the DPS is lower, but if you actually do the math on it, it's higher. Like,
Yeah, I think it's
sometimes it just
because
doesn't make sense.
the numbers are average. They're not a weighted average.
Yeah.
And the DPS is quite, like, literal in that it's damage per second, you know? Nothing about
Yeah.
if you're actually hitting the target. So, like, a high DPS isn't a high DPS because, you know, you can fire 10 bullets a second, but the recoil is so high, only the first shot hits. So you're not actually doing,
Yeah.
you know, 1,000 damage per
What's new?
second. You're doing
On second
100
thought, never
damage per
mind.
second because the other 9 miss.
Well, there's also times that, like, and you'll see it too, especially when you get to the later levels, you'll see a gun that has higher damage per round and a higher rate of fire, but the game will tell you that it's a lower DPS.
Interesting.
Yeah, but, like, you do the math and it doesn't match. So you're like, okay, that's not right. So, like later on when you start doing the gear scores and you start getting, like, custom gear, pay attention to that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Gear score, honestly, is the best way to rate something. But even still, there's times where, like, you can downgrade on gear score and get a better weapon. Like, the weapon I bought yesterday that I'm using today.
Where's gear score? Again?
So when you get to level 30,
Uh-huh.
your weapons won't have a level to it. They'll have a gear score. So
Okay,
it's where
so
the level is now.
Okay.
You looking for anything?
Like right now, my rifle is 275, but my old rifle was 279, and my new rifle actually is higher in every way. Like better accuracy, better DPS, even though it said it was lower. When I actually took out a calculator and did the math, it was higher by like a few thousand, like a notable amount. So like sometimes it just doesn't make sense.
Good to know.
But typically, not always, typically gear score is a good way to rate something. Having said that though, also keep in mind that like when you specialize your gear kit,
You know you want what I'm
um,
selling.
do so
Hey,
without taking gear score into account. Like if you're building to be a tank and your highest gear score kit is going to make you, high in DPS, well, go for the tank build instead of the gear score because you're going to
Yeah.
get the opposite effect of what you intend.
I think I'm seeing that right now because I have the police Mark 17 at level 19.
Yeah.
And the DPS is at 38,000. But, the green and red arrows on the side?
Yeah.
It actually
Glad you're
has
okay.
a one-notch red arrow when I'm comparing it to the Paratrooper SVD that's at 37,000 DPS at level 25. So, like, I'm trying to compare the two to decide which one.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes
babies
it
out.
really doesn't make sense, and I don't understand why. There's so many things that they take into account that like one minor thing that's irrelevant to a gunfight will, give you a bad reading.
yeah. So, like, now that I'm comparing the actual numbers, the damage on the Mark 17 is 7,800, and the rounds per minute is 275.
on second thought, never mind.
But the damage on the SVD is 9,260 rounds per minute. The only thing I could think of is the mag size between 15 and 10. The Mark 17 has a larger mag size.
Yeah, mag size does affect it because it does take into account reloading. The DPS is actually rated over a minute time frame.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so like
the
I think
score
it's
that they
a
give,
unweighted average when it should
Best
be
Yeah.
a weighted
prices, best
average.
gear. Come and take a look.
agreed.
Hey,
I did love the SVD. Actually, my favorite gun in the game for the longest time was the M44.
M44, why am I blanking out on that?
It's a Mosin gun. It's literally an old Soviet World War II rifle.
Thanks for shutting down the leader of the Rikers.
But so right now my sniper rifle is a SCAR variant. It's the Mark 20, like the Navy SEAL version of the SCAR.
Yep.
It's a semi-auto, so inherently, since this is a video game, it does less damage than a bolt action.
Yep.
However, it is semi-automatic. But what I use is, when I use a sniper rifle, I'm using it to initiate an attack. So I want my first shot to do as much damage as possible. So as soon as I get a bolt action rifle that's capable of doing, mass quantities of damage, then I'm
Glad
going to
you're
switch to
okay.
that. Because you'll see, like, once you get into level 30, and you and I are facing off against equal enemies, a headshot from my sniper rifle won't kill somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I need 2 headshots.
Your attention,
Not
please.
impossible, I mean, it's still a good rifle, but I'd rather have that one shot and do as much damage as possible.
All are welcome.
Like, I'd rather take an enemy out of the fight than do half damage to him.
Yeah, it's yeah, I know what you mean.
I sure hope
However, once I get to my fire build, like once I get all my fire starter or whatever the fuck that gear score is, or that gear set, I'm actually going to switch back to the semi-auto because I'm going to be all about damage per second. Like, not even killing the enemy, it's just going to be, I want to inflict as much damage as I can in a very short amount of time. And then I'm gonna have my weird orange kit.
I think that would look cool though.
It looks funky.
You know
As a
you
matter of
want what
fact, I'm
I'm
debating
selling.
if I want to put it on now. It does, it looks cool, but it looks cool because it's so out of place.
Yeah, like a contrast.
Yeah, like everybody else has these, you know, either they look like some, you know, Aspen hiker, or they look like a soldier, and then there's my guy in a chem suit.
Glad you're okay.
Hey, don't walk away. I got a hell of a selection. Always happy to deal with you.
Finished my equipment shit. I have a bunch of stuff in my stash that are all level 30.
Hell yeah. I actually have to go through my stash because I have so many gear sets in there. Like, I basically saved most of the stuff that is part of a gear set.
Yep.
And there's stuff in there that, like, I'll never use.
For mods, the one that's a gear with an eagle, what is that attached to?
Gear with an eagle. For mods?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You would put that on, like, your vest or something like that. Oh, hold on, let me look. Yeah, you'd put it on, like, your vest or your backpack or something like that.
Okay. Because, like, the one with the backpack obviously goes to the backpack, and the one with the mask, and, like, they all obviously go to theirs. I just couldn't figure out what the eagle meant.
I think the eagle just means it's an advanced mod. I could be wrong. I actually don't fully remember.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's equipped to my backpack, so it works.
Yeah. Oh, you missed my freaking rainbow kit I had one day.
Huh.
I put on, like, my obnoxiously colorful kit where it was all, like, stupid shit.
Uh-huh.
And I was running around and, like, it was like a rainbow scarf, like a cartoon backpack, like, just dumb shit. There was one day I was playing with, you know, just by myself. And I was in one of the safe houses, and the guy was like, "Hey, can I party up with you?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Or I should say some girl was like, "Oh, I want to party up with you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we're gaming.
Did she have
She
goat?
sounded... I wish she had goat. You know, we were just bullshitting. And we were playing for probably like an hour. And then she's like, "So I have a random question." I was like, "Yeah, shoot." She's like, "So when did you come out of the closet?" Like, what are you talking about?
What the fuck?
She's like, "Oh, what, you're not, like, gay?" And I'm like, "No, why?" She's like, "Because you have one of the most queer kits I have ever seen." And I'm like, "Yeah, I go for that look." Actually, I'm still friends with her. I haven't seen her online in, like, actually, since I got this game.
the guards. All such activities are restricted to the designated play areas near the post office building. Thank you for your cooperation.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to be a twat, and I'm going to do that extremely colorful kid.
Your attention, please. Children's Story Hour will begin at 1100 hours next to the Christmas tree.
Oh, I thought I had like a rainbow hat. No, it's not.
So I told
God
Shreve
damn
to
it, I
begin
didn't
with
have
recanting the story of Lucifer as done by Islam.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, so I'm still trying to help you figure out how you want to phrase what you want to phrase. Like, what's the at core, the main, like, most basic core of it?
At core, I want to know why there's
Queen's
so
Tunnel
many
thanks to you.
discrepancies between the beginning of the Quran and the end of the Quran. Like, how come there's certain laws that were set at the beginning that are not necessarily held true towards the end of the Quran?
Okay, so
Like,
like,
why
Great
did
work at the
Muhammad
station.
do so much?
You really know how to fight.
okay, so the word that comes to my mind is retconned, like, you know, like in a comic book or something. You know, they had stuff from the first half that was so vastly retconned. Does that sound appropriate?
Yeah,
And,
that's actually quite appropriate.
why was it retconned so drastically?
Yeah. Like, it seems almost as if the coming of Muhammad changed everything that was known prior. Like, what it is about the coming of Muhammad that changed Islam intrinsically.
Colonel Bliss has got to be shitting himself over
And
what
of course
you
I
did at the
come up
Queen's
with
Tunnel.
examples, like I'd actually have to sit at my computer and do some research to actually, like, really delve into my thoughts a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do that. I mean, you could probably just ask him, and
Yeah.
then he'll, like, use him as that research, you know?
Yeah.
Is it true? There's division
So,
agents working with the Last Man Battalion?
So he wants to know why the coming of Muhammad seemed to create such a
Also let him know I apologize for not talking. It's nothing against him. It's
You're an
just that I
inspiration
should've-
to us all. You're doing good work.
I'll look for those phones that I got from that contract guy who didn't pay me. I'm pretty sure I have a Galaxy or two.
You saved a lot of people from getting burned
Motorola,
alive.
or a Moto, and some other stuff. So, if you don't have to buy a new phone.
That'd be awesome. Does it work with T-Mobile?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're unlocked.
Sweet.
You're an inspiration to us all.
So he said, you mean going back to the Old Testament style teachings? I'm saying, yeah, like the second half retcons
You're doing good work.
a bunch of stuff from that first half pretty drastically. And I figure I'll ask these, even though it's not like the exact wording you want. And then from when you read his replies, you can then use his replies to revise
good
and
work.
ask
To
more.
better articulate.
yeah, more articulated, more specific questions. Essentially, him do like a generic overview, and then you say, okay, these are the more specific. Let's dive into this part of what you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sharif he's an engineer like me. He's super fucking smart.
You're an
He's
inspiration to
really
us all.
well rounded, like as a person. Like he's Islamic, he's Muslim, but he's not like, you know, hardcore about it.
Yeah.
He's actually half British. He's got a British accent.
That's
And
fucking awesome.
Like at University of Hartford, there's a lot of
You're doing good work.
students from abroad, from Saudi Arabia, because University of Hartford's a private college, and like these rich kids wanted to go there, but they're like, you know, they have broken English. This is their first time in America. They're still really, you know, Easternized as opposed to Westernized.
Nice work taking out Colonel Bliss.
But yeah, like my only problems with Islam is like, you know, the women's rights and whatnot, but it's really misunderstood by the West. Like,
Yeah,
a lot
it
of
is. It's
lot
not
of the
supposed
women,
to oppress women, it's supposed to protect them.
exactly. And
we both got
so like
shit
a
to
lot
do
of
right
women
now.
who wear the
Talk later.
burqa and all that aren't doing it because they feel oppressed. They do it because it's a tradition that they like to do, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, of course there's a lot actually, especially in like Saudi Arabia and Dubai and like and Abu Dhabi and the Emirates, where they are pretty oppressed and whatnot. Like they're not allowed to go out without, you know, they're not allowed to drive. Their husband has to drive them. But at that, like one of the first official like legal driving schools for women opened up recently.
Yeah.
And
What
most
I
of the
find funny about it is, looking at it from cultural differences, the fact that they do it to protect their women is honorable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, us as Westerners, we look at it and we go, wow, that's offensive to the women. However, the way they would look at it in their, you know, the base levels of their culture is they would look at the fact that we allow women to go out in bikinis and they'd be like, oh wow, look how offensive that is to women because those women are exposed.
Yeah, and like,
You know, they're not
aren't
protected.
you worried your woman's gonna get raped and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it's funny, we actually have the same arguments.
Yeah, and I think that's so indicative of what's wrong with America.
Yeah.
Like, Americans
That's
don't
what's
take a
wrong with all
second to
culture.
even consider the Muslim woman's point of view, or even listen, or even have ever talked to one.
Yeah.
I bet 99% of the people who make these comments about women being oppressed in Islam have never even actually talked to one.
Yeah. I will say though, one of my first experiences with a Muslim, actually my close friend Sarah, or Sarah, sorry, I gotta pronounce it right.
I love how Arab women pronounce some of their names. They're just gorgeous.
I do too, I love it. But one thing that I found weird was, I want to say it was a very positive experience from her as a person, a very negative experience with Islam. Because she hated Islam, she hated the religion. She actually, when she was 17, she took off her hijab for the first time in years, in public, actually at Danbury High School, and ended up joining the Marine Corps and got kicked out of her house.
That's ridiculous. Hold on one second. So, Sharif's first girlfriend, or well, I don't know if first girlfriend, but first serious girlfriend was at university started freshman year of University of Hartford. And it wasn't his first time in America, actually. He went to high school in Alabama, funny enough.
Oh shit.
But his first two serious girlfriends at University of Hartford were both Israeli Jewish, like from Israel. Like
That's
the first
awesome.
one served in the IDF, and left it to go to college. And like if she ever went, she couldn't go back to Israel because if she did, she would have to finish serving the mandatory whatnot. So Sharif's mother is British, white and British, and he actually had a bit of a falling out with his family because he was dating this Israeli chick, which I just find funny because his dad married a white British woman. And like it's not his family was super strict or anything, just it was kind of like, what would other people say, and like, kind of like there's gonna be problems and abrasiveness and whatnot, and actually that first summer break, she visited Israel, like in an unofficial capacity, so like no one knew she was back. Other than like her family and friends, but she was gonna meet him at the border, and he was gonna bring her in, and they're gonna like go on a date. And Sharif's hilarious. Like he's like an idiot savant sometimes, and like he slept through all of his classes, and then the last week of class he had like brown nosed the teacher or smooth talked the teacher into giving him an extension, and he would do all his work in like the last week. He's like permanently jet lagged whenever he's in America. But yeah, so he messages me. He's like, dude, I need to figure out how to pick up Nicole at the border. I'm like, he lives in Amman, and it's not exactly on the border itself or walking distance. So I was like, dude, take a cab. He's like, it's a bit expensive for a cab. I'm like, can you do a bus or a train? And he's like, yeah, but I wouldn't have enough time to get tickets and whatnot. She was apparently at the border when he's messaging me. Or like, an hour away. He was supposed to pick her up within the hour. So he like essentially left his girlfriend at the Israeli-Jordanian border. And they didn't end up going on the date. They didn't break up, but he ended up, fucking up.
Yeah. That's actually pretty hilarious, though.
He's pretty funny himself too. He's like within we pretty much hung out every single day, starting like at orientation was actually ever since orientation day we're best friends. He's a really cool dude. Perry's met him. Yeah. Sharif was in the engineering department with me. We did honors. We both left honors because honors at University of Hartford is the stupidest thing ever.
Stupid hard or stupid?
Stupid, conceptually stupid. Like, to do honors, you essentially just take your humanities, the honors version of humanities, and the only thing that makes the humanities and the honor class is you do an extra paper by the end of the semester. And like most colleges, if you do, engineering with honors, that's a big accomplishment and like helps with job placement and whatnot. But University of Hartford, it literally did nothing. Pretty much, if anything, it was a waste of ink for having to print out the extra paper and having the ink on your diploma say with honors.
Huh.
Pretty much everybody who started at honors left it. But his high school, essentially the top performing student at the high school gets a free ride to University of Hartford, so he got that. That's how I met him. That's why he went to University of Hartford and how I met him and whatnot. It's ridiculous. Him and my girlfriend both had full rides because they were the smartest people in their high schools and got the scholarships. He had to maintain a 3.2 GPA, and my girlfriend at the time had to maintain a 3.5. I was getting $20,000 a semester, but I had to maintain a 3.8 GPA. Isn't that ridiculous? Like, a 3.8, and it's not even a full ride. And, like, University of Hartford's expensive, so, like, even though I was getting a lot of money, I didn't actually get to see or spend any of it.
It's alright, I got a full ride to a school that I didn't even get into.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got the Mensa scholarship to Yale.
Oh,
but
cool.
You still had to apply to Yale, and I didn't get in because I had a 1.4 GPA in high school.
Your attention, please.
I had a, like, even with sickle cell, I had a perfect GPA in high school. And our high school is one of the ones where 4.0 GPA isn't the maximum. It's not even good. Like, you're expected to have a 7.0 GPA.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, Glastonbury public schools are some of the best in the nation, and Glastonbury High School is like so good it's not even like included in the normal rankings of the schools of the state or the country, because it's like that one smart kid who breaks the grading curve.
Yeah.
So, like, you could have, like, I know people who had a 2.0 GPA from GHS, and they're still able to get in with full rides at University of Connecticut in
awesome.
the business program. Like, there's, like, the normal dropout.
In high school, which I liked, but I didn't like it enough to stay, so I literally made the decision. I'm like, I'm going to leave Immaculate and go to Danbury Public School. And I actually personally liked Danbury Public Schools more.
Everyone I know that, like, Glastonbury is like a upper middle class town.
Yeah.
And so a lot of kids went to the private or specialized middle schools. Like, there was a science and technology magnet school that, you know, you had to be invited to attend type of thing. And
oh, by the way, I'm gonna pick a HVT target real quick.
okay, I'll meet you outside then.
Hey there.
You made Rhodes a happy man.
Like, everyone I know that went to private schools or these, like, supposedly awesome schools, all left and decided to go to Glastonbury Public School. And it was like a better curriculum, but also, like, you got the diversity and the better, like, social culture of a public school than a strict private school.
Yeah, it's actually why I like Danbury more, because at Immaculate, everybody was very much the same.
Yep.
Even my friends, like, all of my friends were the same, and I liked the kids there. You know, the teachers were okay, the education was okay, I really didn't have a problem with it. Other than the fact that there was nothing special about it. So I didn't feel obligated to, there was no reason for me to stay there.
Yeah.
And I'm actually happy I went to Danbury High because I got into the ROTC program.
That's awesome. But yeah, I understand what you mean.
Also, I totally selected that mission and it's not showing up on my mission list.
Should I fast travel to you or wait?
What a fucking mess.
Saved a lot of people.
I don't know, where the fuck did that mission go?
Everybody
I
on
have
this
to
street
physically-
just disappeared.
Yeah. I have to physically find the mission now because it's not showing up on my list.
Where is it supposed to be?
Oh, there it is. I just marked it.
Waste of goddamn time.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk out on the main road because it's actually not too far from here. We can walk there in like 5 seconds.
Okay. I'll start running then.
Unfortunately, after this mission, I may or may not hop off depending on how tired I am.
Okay.
I can feel the tired coming in, but it's not quite there.
Yeah. I'm almost caught up to you. I wish they would say, there you are. I wish I had like a distance.
Now that since we're at a higher level, we might have to approach a little bit more tactically.
Okay.
Oh, they're right over here. That's convenient.
I have a proper sniper rifle. I have a SVD as my primary and an AK as my secondary.
Hell yeah. That might be just for this, because when we initiate, we might pick targets and try to drop them.
Approaching marked location.
Oh, it's right here. Okay, so this is just going to be an all-out
Good
gunfight.
work taking out that LMB outpost.
Tell me when to start firing.
Warning. Hostiles detected
You'll know when.
nearby.
Headshots do a third of their health
Warning.
right now.
Hostiles detected.
That's feasible.
Yeah. This AK is pretty good. I have a 3.5 times zoom scope on it.
Hostiles incoming. Alert. Heavily armored hostile detected.
Are fire grenades good for the heavily armored guy?
Yeah, as long as they cause damage, then yes.
Oh shit, there's a guy with a flamethrower. Oh, never mind. That's a fire turret.
I got you.
Oh, thanks. I actually don't know what the fuck killed me.
This guy's behind us somewhere. Hold on.
Here, I'll do the pulse scan.
Good call. Oh shit.
I'll try and cover the guy in front. So I'm not at one hit death, but it's one bullet takes me down to like 1 health.
Progress.
Yeah. Except for the yellow guy does kill me 1 hit.
Yeah, he's pretty badass.
The problem is that like, so like when you aim down sights, you then gotta hit R3 to actually go into the scope. So as I'm going into the scope, I get hit. I wish it'd just go to the scope automatically.
Try to light him on fire to get him stunned up. guy's fucking taking around like a champ. Oh, and apparently he's weak to fire.
There's a couple guys to our left. They're down now.
Grab a CR3P fragment.
This purple beacon.
Yeah, it's just like a random thing. If you walk over like where he died, you might get it. It's not 100% every time.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I did.
But the nice thing is when you get 10 fragments, you get a full cipher key, and you trade that for like the boxes that you can unlock.
Yeah.
They come with like little cosmetics and shit like that.
I want some like equipment that looks more like your gear, like proper military gear.
Tactical.
Yeah, instead of just like.
I'm gonna run back to the base of ops real quick, and maybe grab another one.
Sure. I'll dump my stuff and meet you outside.
Sweet.
So Sharif works as a energy and systems engineer at Philip Morris. And apparently Philip Morris has a huge presence in the Middle East and Jordan specifically.
Oh no shit.
And he says like cigarettes are going towards smokeless cigarettes to be more vape-like. And that the way it's going, it's very likely that cigarettes will become better than vapes even.
Huh. That'd be really cool, actually.
Yeah, I know, right? He's an energy concentration for engineering, just mechanical engineering, which is pretty cool. Like nuclear power plants, solar and renewable.
Nuclear power plants are my shit. I love NPV. I'm a bio nerd, so I love like studying Chernobyl and stuff like that.
Hey, check
Oh,
these
that's
babies
awesome.
out.
Yeah, I'm a.
Oh yeah.
And of course, America's got a problem with nuclear power plants because of misinformation, misunderstanding, which I think is just so stupid. Nuclear power plants, I think, are a very necessary thing for the interim as we switch to proper renewables. And I wish, like, so if, essentially if you took a chunk of like property in Arizona and just made a giant solar farm, you could power the entire nation, no problem, and have surplus. But everyone, of course, is like, not in my backyard, even though the middle of the desert in Arizona is nobody's backyard.
Yeah.
Like, it's not being used
Even
by
more
anything.
importantly, power plants are safe now, or at least relatively safe.
Oh yeah.
Like we no longer use carbon core reactors, so we don't have to worry about another like 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl. And even
Yep.
Fukushima was a fluke.
Yeah, Fukushima was, I hate when people say, well, look at what happened at Fukushima. Fukushima was not just a fluke, but it was a near impossibility.
Yeah. Like that was literally Murphy's Law taking effect. If it could go wrong, it did.
Yeah. Literally, if anything, if a single thing was 1% different, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And like, people don't understand that there is a constant march of technology. Even like pencils, like a normal like #2 yellow pencil
Hey, check these babies out.
is ridiculously more advanced than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like recycled pulp for the wood, like the graphite isn't just graphite made into a stick. It's like formulated graphite, product.
By the way, you should fast travel to me. This is definitely one of the cooler safe houses.
Okay. Holy shit! I just got lost in the base of operations somehow. Like, I'm literally at the arms dealer that's right next to the main door. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Yeah, I haven't unlocked all the, like, I haven't been to and unlocked all the safe houses yet. I think I've only done 2 or 3 of them.
This one's definitely a cool one.
Where are you?
I'm kind of like sort of northeast, more east central-ish.
By West 49th Street?
By
Fuck, why isn't it?
you'll see
Back up. We'll
East
have to
39th,
reestablish a
3rd
connection.
Avenue, East 38th. The safe house is called the Grindhouse.
I can't wait to put my feet up.
It's like northeast-ish, more east.
The crypt. Firewall. There it is. There you are.
Yeah, this is definitely a cool safe house.
Did you get a chance to look at Thingiverse or My Mini Factory?
Oh, not yet. Actually, I was planning on doing that tonight, and then I got hooked on gaming.
I'm so close to level 27.
We did not level you up that quickly today.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. I think it's because, like, missions have a lot of NPCs to kill.
Yeah.
And, of course, as the higher level I get, you know, the less XP doesn't go as far as it did.
Yeah. Hopefully doing missions like this will get you a lot, because killing people gets a lot of XP.
Yeah, before, like, I'd get, like,
that
thousands of XP per kill. Now it's like 250-ish.
You're gonna love this one. Some doctor, Candel or
Wish I could do
Elvis
something for
or
you.
who or somebody,
Oh, great.
they keep
Responded
changing
that
their
quick.
minds. Wants a bunch of medical records from this local
Ooh.
practice. All that stuff's computerized, of course.
These are not the guys
and the
we're going after,
computers
but
ain't
he's
on.
probably killing them.
So they're gonna be
Yeah,
out of
it's
luck
fine.
until someone goes in there, turns those things on, and grabs the records themselves. Insurance companies are gonna love that, don't you think?
We're in one of the harder areas, so this will be quite a bit of XP.
Fucking A. The grenade blew up my little med pack thing.
No, they're not hitting me.
Yeah, I got 150 XP for that guy.
Or and that wasn't even our main mission. Ooh, and there's 2 more guys right here.
Oh, my bad, I thought you went in the building. Get you out of there.
I'm just gonna run.
There's a guy up here, I think.
Good kill. 180? Goddamn.
Are you out in the street?
Yeah.
Approaching marked location.
Alright, this is interesting. Here's good cover right here.
Warning. Hostiles detected nearby.
Right where you are is perfect. That is more perfect.
There's a guy flanking us behind us. Fucking A.
Warning. Additional incoming hostiles detected.
Keep shooting! Over there!
Whenever I have full med packs, everyone drops a billion. But when I'm down to one,
Additional hostiles incoming.
nobody drops shit.
Yeah, same here.
I think every Tom Clancy game has a timer, just like a timer graphic for reloading.
Yeah, it bothers the shit out of me too, because it's like not the most efficient way to do it either.
There's 7 enemies. That guy got 1300 XP for.
Hostiles incoming. Alert. Heavily armored hostile detected.
God damn it,
There's our HVP.
I wish they did, like the grenade was a actual grenade button.
Ow, my pipe. I agree.
Back in the day, they used to try and drive people out of their houses and neighborhoods they wanted to redevelop.
By the
Oh.
time I
They
take out a
these
grenade,
good-for-nothing
I've already
goon
killed the guy.
squads. Your friends at the LMB, they're doing
We're
the
not
same
done with
thing. Some wiseacres called Javelin Squad. They're causing a ruckus. Decent people can't stand up to that sort of thing, not without your help.
Oh, there's a ton of people. Oh, we're getting flanked.
Fuck that guy.
A guy got behind us.
Yeah, we're not in a good position right now. So that's our APC.
My Agnes, she was a block captain for 26 years. Would have been very proud of the way you just took care of that.
I can't believe we
And
just got
me?
that.
I gotta say, it wasn't bad.
Awesome.
That was actually tough.
I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, that went really well. Yeah, well done. And I got a crate. Let's open that up. Ooh. Ooh. So I got some stuff you might like.
Coming.
I'll give it to you right. So this is something you should save because it's a really high gear score.
Okay.
And its DPS is actually pretty good.
Sure.
Right here.
How good are shotguns?
Guess it wasn't that lucky.
The way Perry uses them, very good. The way I use them, they're terrible.
What's Perry's way of using them? Just running up and smashing them in the face?
That's exactly what he does.
Nice, a
He
yellow.
cleans half of them.
Does he go purple then orange or orange then purple?
It goes purple, then like yellow, and there's actually one that's like dark orange. It's called heroic
Okay.
or exotic, rather. Like a dark orange is the highest. Right now, I only have one dark orange weapon. Back to the base of ops.
I think I have a few dark oranges because I don't remember seeing like a yellow, but I remember having orange. Is
Well,
it?
the yellow is like the one I just gave you.
Oh, okay. And the orange is like, the yellow is like a yellow orange or a gold yellow.
Yeah. Orange is like a vibrant orange. So you'll know it when you see it.
Like the orange
I
home
haven't-
bases.
Or
Or the
orange
loading
is
screen.
Yeah. Like it's a really vibrant one. Like look at your health bar.
Oh, okay. Hi, kitty cats.
Like I actually have a couple, but I only carry one right now. The other one I have is called the Hungry Hog. It's an M60.
Almost done upgrading base of operations 60, 70, and 90. For some reason, I'm not getting the materials for them
You'll be missing out.
as much.
You name it.
When we go on those like side missions, you'll definitely get more. Actually, we can work on that a little bit later.
Let me stash this stuff you gave me.
I'm gonna sell that.
I have a 42,000 G36C waiting for me when I hit level 27. So close to that.
I've carried a G36 for most of this game. They're great.
I love G36s in general, and like most video games, the G36 is one of the better guns.
Oh yeah.
Like everything from Army of Two to Wildlands. For some reason, the G36 is like everybody's go-to good gun.
Honestly, in real life, it's a great gun too. It's just bulky as hell.
I love HK as a company.
Oh hell yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but they have that bullpup futuristic gun. The magazine is like a bar
G11.
that yeah. That's like the magazine's
I've
like a
actually
bar
fired
that
one of
slides in.
Yeah. I fired one of those. They're interesting. They're actually not that comfortable to fire either because they are caseless.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Like it was fun, don't get me wrong, like it was an experience, but if you're used to shooting conventional firearms, you won't like the G11. Now if you're like a new recruit in the army and somebody hands you a G11 and it's all you know, you'd like it.
I wish I had a better handgun. I'd just rock that 24/7 because I love their rate of fire and their stability.
Oh, yeah.
But they just don't do enough damage.
Hey, you gotta see this. Got a hell of a selection.
Let me see if there's a good one for sale. Nope.
Man, I love making deals.
Now I gotta find that armory guy again.
Keep fighting a good fight. Do what I can from here.
There he is.
Best
I can now
gear in the
find him
city.
without
Check it
needing
out.
your help.
Perfect.
A Magnum that does 6,000 damage. But the DPS is only 1,000 more than I currently have. Ooh, a Mark 17. But the stability is shit. I like how the Mark 17 has worse stability than a SVD does. It's a bit
Yeah.
backwards. Sharif brought up a couple good points that the Quran isn't, unlike the Bible, isn't organized by chronology. Um, and also it only existed after Muhammad. So like, um, it wasn't like the first part was written and then Muhammad happened and then the second part and then that retconned it. It was all written after the fact.
That is valid.
But yeah, when you get on Facebook, you can give him an example or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Ah, fuck it, I'll buy the Mark 17.
That's what I...
Stay frosty out there.
Okay. See you.
Oh, god damn it. Oh well, I'll replace the SVD with the AK.
Hmm.
Should I do a... I have a pro red dot that does headshot damage and optimal range boosts, a reflex that does optimal and critical hit, the C79 that does critical hit and optimal range, and an ACOG that does accuracy and stability. I feel like
The
critical
answer is
hit
yes.
and headshot damage doesn't happen enough for me to actually like pick something based off of it.
Yeah.
So the accuracy and stability in general, I think, would be most useful.
It can be.
28% increased threat. Is that like aggro?
Um. Hold on 1 second. I just read something weird. Yeah, pretty much.
I just got a silencer too. Omega rifle suppressor. Minus 39% reduced threat. I'll rather do stability with a compensator. Stability is like the main problem I have right now. I hate how the stat numbers are in orange, and then when you highlight something, it's like a dark orange. I can't read
Yeah.
it for shit. I like how one says 2% critical hit damage, and the other says 2.0% critical hit damage. Like, they have great attention to detail, but then they just kind of miss the mark on some of these.
Yeah, some of them are weird. Like, I'm actually looking at something right now as a higher gear score, but all the stats are fucked up. Like, not as good.
Should I do mag size or reload speed?
Mag size.
I'm surprised at how small the optimal range for the AK is.
Yeah. The AKs actually, they're great up close. They're actually almost like, think of application as a submachine gun.
Yeah, that's
But
what.
that's a general rule.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting the vibe of. That's what and the mods I'm putting on are towards that end.
Yeah.
$40,000 G35C just waiting for me when I get to 27, level 27.
Hell yeah.
Advanced performance mod. I'm trying to load up all of my armor with at least one mod and see how much of a difference it makes. feel like there's no point to using silencers.
There really isn't. I mean, some of the stats are okay. Like, some of them come with accuracy or critical hit damage and stuff like that. But for the most part, it really doesn't matter if it's silenced or not. Hate to say.
Yeah.
Readings indicate this area is safe.
For some reason it's saying go to the Tactical Operations Center.
Wish I could get up there myself.
Just don't see the pattern here.
Alright. I unfortunately gotta log off now. I can feel it tired kick in.
Alright,
I'll be online tomorrow though.
cool, yeah. Shoot me a text.
Will do.
Looks perfect. I can't thank you enough.
Take a look at
thank you.
Thingiverse
We'll bring you
and
something
My
from my
Mini
wine
Factory
rack.
when you get a chance to.
Oh, definitely. Alright, I will talk to you later, good sir.
Yes, peace, you too.
I'll see you when you get back.
Peace.
Last night, I slept through for the first time in weeks.
Keep fighting a good fight. Do what I can from here.